Now, these leaves we have, they are, well, they include a lot more text than a usual modern printed book. The pages are just packed with text, and so it makes you wonder how the scribes arrange their text in terms of, you know, the page. What about chapter division, headlines? Is there anything to help the reader?
In the area that was designated for the text, the scribe usually left no blanks. The text area was used to its fullest extent. So, for instance, when you had in the text, you had a break in the text, a new section. The scribes usually identified new sections or new chapters with an initial, usually slightly enlarged, often in colored ink, red or green or perhaps blue, and sometimes they would also write a heading, and usually the heading would also be in a colored ink, typically red ink, and therefore referred to as a rubric. This chapter division, the chapters were never numbered, so the numbering system that we have grown accustomed to from modern editions is a later phenomenon. And you can also see that sometimes the chapter division varies from one manuscript to the other of the same text. Usually the body text would be written, and then later on the initial and the heading would be filled in. And the scribe writing the body text, he would maybe write an indicator out in the margin saying, okay, maybe if he wanted the enlarged initial N, he would write a little N in the margin as an indicator for the person who then later on wrote the initial.
Which is a separate, it's not the same person always.
Often there was a different person doing the initials and the headings. It seems we can see that there's a different script on the heading and body text, but not always. Occasionally, however, this never happened, and you have a blank for the intended initial and the intended heading. Now, if we look at how this was done, usually, since every little part of space had to be used up, when writing, you would frequently have in the same line the end of a chapter, the heading, and the beginning of a new chapter. So, for instance, if you look at this here chapter division in Eyrbyggja Saga, you can see here you have the end of a chapter. It goes here. Bóndum þótti eigi í hendi liggja að eigi við þá. Tóku þeir þennan kost og bundu þetta svardögum, and then it goes on to this line here. This is the very end of the chapter. Svardögum með sér fóru bændur við það heim. End of chapter. Then in the same line you have a blank here. This is a room intended for a heading that was never written in. Here you have an enlarged initial. This is an enlarged N. Nú að segja frá Snorra goða að hann fór til Fjeránsdóma á og norður í Bitru. So you have the first line here, first half line, and then it continues here.